welcome. You are watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, the Nifty gained for the fifth straight day in a row on Wednesday. It is now at a make or break level of 22,600, sustaining above which will open the doors for the index to actually make newer highs as well. Now, remember, today will be the weekly expiry of the options for Nifty 50 contracts, now which will be the penultimate weekly expiry for the May series as well. And the move seen by the Nifty in the last 5 sessions has already ensured that the index has turned at least positive for this series. Now, while the Nifty continues to move up higher, it's the Nifty Bank that has been a pain point, at least for the last 2 trading sessions. The index closed right at the 50 DMA level of 47,777. ICICI Bank, SBI, Axis Bank, these were the 3 top underperformers on the index as of yesterday. Now, for today's session, we will keep an eye out on a whole host of companies that have reported their earnings. So, Gland Pharma, Jubilant Foodworks, Grasim, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, Power Grid, Metro Brands, Minda Corp, among others, will be the key stocks that will be reacting to their quarterly earnings that were reported yesterday after the market hours. Also, as of today, big earnings that you need to keep an eye out on. ITC reports its earnings today, along with other stocks like Barbecue Nation, Cello World, Finolex Cables, Fortis Healthcare, Honasa Consumer, also Schneider Electric, Orchid Pharma, Tega Industries and Steel Strip Wheels, along with TD Power. These will be some of the other stocks that will be coming up with their earnings as well. Now, as far as the cues from overseas are concerned, remember, while the US equities fell after the release of the FOMC minutes, the futures rose following robust results from Nvidia, and the S&P 500 fell by 0.2%, the Nasdaq Composite declined by about 0.18%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down by about 0.5% in the overnight trading session. But when we look at Nvidia's earnings, remember, the stock also rallied post the earnings as the AI giant reported a 600% profit explosion, 10-for-1 stock split as well. These were the 2 big points. This was Nvidia's most profitable and highest sales ever quarter, and Nvidia reported fiscal first quarter earnings as they beat the expectations for both sales and earnings across the board, and the stock also rose in the extended trading action over $1,000 per share threshold for the very first time. So we will keep an eye out on the tech stocks following in the futures as well today, and what that does for the Indian IT space as well today. Asian markets were mixed, however, in the early morning trading action after the US Federal Reserve meeting revealed that the Fed officials' concern about sticky inflation continues, with members seemingly getting cold feet on the possible interest rate cuts as well. So across the board, Kospi, Hang Seng and Shanghai declined in trade, with Hang Seng down by over 1%, whereas the Nikkei managed to eke out about 0.6% of gains in the early morning trading action. Now, as far as the GIFT Nifty trends are concerned, they're indicating a 33-point lower opening for the Indian markets on the Nifty, indicating a negative start for the Indian index at somewhere around 22,000. 600 thereabout as well. Now, when we talk about the overseas cues from the foreign investors, they remained net sellers on Wednesday, and this is for the 3rd straight session after having bought just for about 1 session odd or so. So, foreign portfolio investors offloaded about 686 odd crore rupees of shares in yesterday's trading action. Domestic institutional investors remained net buyers for the 2nd day. They mopped up equities worth about 962 odd crore rupees. Now, as far as the other macros are concerned, Brent crude, it was trading lower by about 0.5% at $81.5 a barrel, and gold was just quiet at $23.81 an ounce, just about a 0.1% of an uptick on that front as well. Let's welcome our guest now on the show. We have Mr. Chakri Lokpriya joining in. He's the managing partner at Red Strawberry LLP. Warm welcome to you, Chakri. So much for taking the time out for this discussion. We're less than a fortnight away from the big bang election results season, election results to be coming out. We've seen enough and more volatility in the past 10 days, and now there seems to be investors drawing confidence from Prime Minister Modi's statements that they are confident of coming back with a bang and a majority over there, and they're also talking about very vocally on stock markets rally that could be coming in the offing. What is your own sense, and how would you advise an average retail investor to be really looking at the next fortnight and beyond that in the markets?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. As we draw closer to the election end date, results announcement date rather, all the various election survey polls numbers have been changing over time, and now there is greater confidence that the current government will come back. Come back. So that will ensure policy continuity, and therefore, all the sectors which did really well, industrials, capex-related companies, infra, defense, railways, all these companies are the ones which will continue to do well once the government after the elections is over. But in the run-up to that date, because these companies have done so well, one could book some profits, wait on the sidelines, and come back in. Because on one hand, the good news is the fundamentals of these companies are all extremely strong. But because they've all run up, one could take some money off the table.
Right. But do you actually see that the election verdict could mark the top for the markets, at least for this year?
If you look at, for instance, today's or rather yesterday's RBI releasing paying the dividend, and that will lower the fiscal deficit for the country. So, which means it lays the foundation for a low fiscal deficit, better spending by the government next year, post elections. So, which means and as earnings come in, therefore the markets can continue to move higher, because mind you, many of the large caps have actually not performed in this rally. So that way, I still see the markets moving higher after the current government comes back in and continues with its policies.
Okay, but what will be the key monitorable or the biggest monitorable for the markets after elections? Will it be policy action and continuity driving the force? Will it be back to fundamentals and earnings? What exactly will you be really looking forward to for the markets to inch higher from that top then?
It will be earnings delivery, I think. And we would all wait for the budget, which will be in July. And that will give kind of a clear direction of what the government is going to do, where its spending areas are going to be. And if it's any indication of what has happened thus far in the last couple of years, defense, railways, infra, industrials, PLI schemes, all these things have actually delivered. You look at the earnings results in this quarter, you look at Hindustan Aeronautics, the company, it's phenomenally strong results, and the company trades at about 32 times earnings for a phenomenally strong set of results. So which means it's not an expensive stock even after a phenomenal run-up in the stock. And then the same story holds for many names. If you look at the power financing companies, REC, PFC. So I think what we have to do is what I would do is wait and watch what in the budget they have to say. Largely, I think is going to be along the same lines.
I'm glad that you did talk about REC and PFC, sir. I was going to be asking you about how should one be really now positioned on the PSU pack. We've seen enough and more rally unfold. Now, whether it is in the defense pack, whether it is in the PSU pack railways, or whether it is in the PSU banking space itself, the power space or the power finance space that you are highlighting, is it wise enough to start trimming your positions there and wait for post-elections, the momentum to start building up again?
You asked for a few different sectors. So let's start with, for example, PFC and REC. Now, these companies currently, even after all the run-up, are still trading only at about 1.2 times book value on probably FY 26-27. And both the managements have indicated that they're going to grow. By 2030, they're going to double their books or more. And so, which means if you do that, if you fast forward 4 years, these companies are extremely attractive valuations even at current levels. So what this requires is kind of policy continuity for these companies to continue to do well, and therefore PFC, REC still look great provided there's policy continuity. Now, very similar stories applies in the case of defense and railways. If you like Titagarh Wagons, and the company reported earnings, and the company's phenomenally strong earnings results, and after all the run-up, still their PE multiples are actually quite reasonable for their growth. So, you can see that growth for the next, let's say, 5 years out. Again, so I think the key word is policy continuity here.
Okay, understood. So that's the view coming in on the power financiers, the defense and the railway space as well. Are there any sectors after the large part of earnings we have already seen where you have turned overweight versus underweight? If at all, then which are those sectors?
We continue to maintain our overweights on industrials, defense, and railways, and as well as the power financiers. And I don't think we're going to change that. We're going to maintain those positions. Now, with the RBI dividend, clearly, that will bring down bond yields a little bit, and that will be good for all the PSU banks. So, banks like Canara Bank, Union Bank, State Bank of India is something which we will look at in the current scenario.
All right, sir. What about the FMCG space that started to bounce back after a whole host of underperformance that we've seen? At least from the big four FMCG players within the earnings, the managements have started to indicate that there is a green shoot of, visible as far as rural recovery is concerned. Everybody is keeping a keen eye out on the above normal rainfall that IMD has now predicted. Will that mean the end of underperformance from this sector? Should one start nibbling into these stocks now?
You raised all the key, important points about, good rainfall, pickup in rural. But, still I would wait. There are really pockets of good performance. If you look at Marico, there the volumes were good. Margins showed a marginal improvement. And therefore the stock has done well, will probably continue to do well. So I think, it's like those pockets of performance we have to look at FMCG. Otherwise, the multiples are still expensive. The volumes have not picked up. The pricing power is still not there. And the margins, therefore, are unlikely to pick up anytime in the next 1 or 2 quarters. So given that there is no, real trigger for the stock, business trigger, so I'll still wait for some more time.
All right. Let's also welcome our other guest on board, Mr. Lokpriya. Kunal V. Parar is now with us, Vice President Technical Research at Choice Equity Broking. Warm welcome, Kunal. Good to have you with us. Before I begin to understand the broader understanding on the market strategy, 2 stock ideas that you can give us before the markets hit pre-open?
Well, good morning. Now, from my side, 2 stocks are there, and both of them from FMCG itself. Okay, first is Imami Limited. Okay, yesterday we saw good upside momentum with the help of 50 MA, and it gave a close somewhere around 535. So Imami, one can go for long with the SL of 518. If we talk about target, then 548 would be the first target, and second target is at 569. And second stock as well, it's from FMCG itself. Now, second stock is Tata Consumer. If you talk about the stock, then the stock has given a breakout of its consolidation phase on an early chart. Not only this, if you talk about MA side, moving average side, then it has also taken a support of its MA. And right now it is trading at 1121 level. So second is Tata Consumer. One can go for long in Tata Consumer with the SL of somewhere around 1080. If you talk about target side, then the first target is come at 1155, and second target comes at 1205.
All right, and the markets have also hit pre-open. So let's look at the Nifty at about a 50 point of an uptick at 22,655 currently, as was being indicated by the GIFT Nifty as well. 0.3% of an uptick that can be seen on this one. So definitely a strong start. Let's see how these settle down. 0.3% of a move. So there is a no exuberance at this point in time. Very sensible levels that are coming in, which are possible in today's trading session as well. 22,664. Let's again look at some of the big heavyweights. Let's look at ITC that started to move since we've been discussing the entire FMCG space. How is that one opening in trade today? And yes, there is a 0.5% of an uptick, 443. Let's look at the banks that were the big drags yesterday. Let's look at ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, SBI. Let's see how are they opening up in trade today. Any support coming from the banks will be more than welcome by the markets. There is a flattish trade on ICICI Bank. Let's also look at HDFC as well. Axis Bank is absolutely flat. Let's look at HDFC and SBI too. At this point in time, let's pull up State Bank of India and HDFC charts as well. So 0.5% decline at 1452 for HDFC Bank. Let's also look at how SBI is opening about 1% higher. 826 can be seen on SBI. Let's again look at Reliance Industries, the other heavyweight counter. Remember, it supported the market move yesterday. For the markets to come back into the green, and it ended almost yesterday at 2921. Let's see how that one is opening. Flattish with a negative bias on that one. Let's look at some of the earnings counters then. Grasim reported its numbers. Here the margins have shown an improvement for the company. I think there is about a 0.2% of an improvement on this one. Let's look at some of the other earnings, boys. Let's look at Petronet LNG. Let's see how that one is opening. Q on Q, their revenue was down, and also we've seen that the margins came in lower than the last year for Petronet LNG, and EBITDA was down 35%, so there could be some disappointment. Net profit was down about 37%. So yes, there is a 3.2% downtick. Let's look at Garden Reach Shipbuilders. Here a strong set of earnings came in. Revenues jumped by 70%. EBITDA came in sharply higher at 91 crores versus 20 crores. And net profit came in at 112 crores. Let's look at Garden Reach. 8.9% higher in the pre-opening trade. A very strong move that can be seen on this one as well. Let's also look at New India Assurance. Remember, the entire insurance space was buzzing yesterday. LIC, GIC, New India Assurance right ahead of the earnings. Star Health as well. Both of these companies reported their earnings, New India Assurance and Star Health. So about 1.5% higher is what it is showing at. Net profit all nearly doubled to about 308 crore rupees as far as this company is concerned. Let's look at Torrent Power and Power Grid. These are the other two power related stocks. Remember, we need to keep an eye out on these two stocks as well. And in the power space, we are seeing Torrent Power slightly lower, about 3% lower. After revenue was just up 8%, net profit was down 7.5%. Perhaps that's disappointed the street. 1341 for this one. Let's also look at Power Grid, as there are brokerage houses reports that have also come in positive for Power Grid after the earnings. Morgan Stanley has given an overweight with the target price of 296. Let's see how that one has played out. Remember, the standalone PAT was about 7% plus versus, and this is better than estimates, but slightly lower, about 0.5% lower for Power Grid as of now. Let's also look at Jubilant Foods. The company also posted about a revenue of 24% growth, margins at 19.7%, slightly lower than estimates that the street had, and net profit at 208 odd crore rupees. This is a sharp jump from 29 odd crore rupees. This is much higher than the estimates. Yes, 3.3% higher, or 495. So those are the kind of levels that we are seeing. Let's come back to the conversation that we have with Mr. Chakri Lokpriya and Kunal also with us. Chakri, the other thing that I wanted to understand from you, how are you now looking at these big banks which have been still underperforming and still disappointing? There is no continuous strength that we have been seeing. There are 1 or 2 days when there is some spike, but they are lacking continuous momentum and sustaining levels. How are you looking at the big four private banks?
You're absolutely right. There seems to be a complete lack of momentum, and that lack of momentum is probably linked to the lack of business momentum compared to the PSU banks. If you look at PSU bank results, SBI, Canara Bank, all these banks, Union Bank, they all reported very good numbers. Their balance sheets are very strong. Provisioning has improved. They've cleaned up all their books, so the NPAs are at a historical lows. And they've been gaining share in terms of all the corporate spend on infrastructure, defense, railways, all that spend that is happening, all that loans growth is coming from the PSU banks at the expense of the private banks. So on the other hand, private capex has not picked up, and the traditional pockets of spend of the private capex, of the private banks, has not picked up, and therefore that weakness is likely to continue.
Okay, understood. Let's also look at the metals pack that has been continuously in the thick of action, and we'll understand from both our guests how to round position yourselves from on some of these stocks. Hindalco is down by 1%. Let's look at Hindustan Zinc. That's showing sharp uptick for 2 days in a row after the silver prices had been seeing a rise. Today, in fact, so 1.5% lower today, thankfully, after some stellar moves on this one. 761 currently. Let's also get private players, Tata Steel, JSW Steel as well, to really understand how the momentum is. Somewhat of a downtick that is being seen. So probably let's look at whether our guests recommend an entry into some of these stocks in these tips or not. Chakri, how are you looking at the metal move currently, and what are the things that will continue to perhaps thrust the space forward?
The metal space clearly has more links to the global rather than to the domestic. And, in a ways is therefore a hedge, against the elections because it will follow a global recovery path, etc. And if you take, for example, Steel Authority of India, SAIL, the company trades at about 5 times book value. So the valuations are very inexpensive. And, some of the concerns have been about, the lack of volume growth. But I think, there's sufficient earnings power within the company to deliver plus improvement in margins going forward. Stock has done very well. That can put some amount of dampener, but still an inexpensive stock. Vedanta seems again a company which is not expensive. The company has very good plans about strong capex of nearly $10 billion in multiple spaces, including non-commodity spaces, and I think that will hold the company well. And therefore, for the longer term, Vedanta also looks very good.
Okay, let's get you, Kunal, also into the conversation on the metal space. How are you looking at the metal move now? The downtick today, should one be really looking at entering into them?
Well, definitely the way all the metal stock has been trading since last few days. If you talk about VEDL, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Steel Authority for India, few stocks are there which look attractive even at present level. And one of the stock is JSW Steel. No doubt, now downtick is there in pre-opening 912. Right now it is trading at this level. But stock has already given a breakout and it has been trading in an uncharted territory. So from the present level, we can again expect somewhere around 10 to 12% of momentum from JSW Steel itself. So from my side, it's a buy recommendation. One can go long at 912 level. And if you talk about SL side, downside support comes at 880. Then target 936 will be the first target, and 976 will be the second target. So 7% of move we can expect from the present level. One more is there from my side. It's Steel Authority of India. Now it has again given a breakout of its recent top. Not only this uncharted territory, stock has been trading with positive volume activity. Fresh rhythm is there. Right now in the pre-opening, it is trading at 169. So, but obviously one can go for long at 169 only. If we talk about the downside, which one can kept as a strict SL, then 151 would be the perfect SL. No doubt, 10% of SL is there, but I am expecting more upside momentum from the counter itself. First target would be 183, which is 8% from the present level, and second target would be come at 205, which is somewhere around 20% from the present level. So, sale one can go for, at present level with the SL of 151.
All right. So those are the metal counters that are being advised on a technical basis as well. Let's also look at the mid-cap index that's looking at a record opening again in trade today. 52,395 currently, a strong move again, a 0.5% of an increase. Chakri, how are you looking at the mid-cap space again buzzing for the last few trading sessions? We've heard about the froth build-up, knee-jerk reactions to that, but the space is back up again. How are you reading into this space now?
If you look at, the components of growth and earnings growth across various sectors, whether it's defense, railways, electronic companies, all these companies happen to be in the mid-cap index and not in the mainstay index of the Nifty. And you look at PSU banks, again, power finances, all of them again come in the mid-cap index. So and that is where the earnings growth actually has been, and therefore it justifies the run-up that has happened fundamentally in the mid-cap index, in the broader market. So I think, that trend, I think, will continue because these companies are, nobody talked about defense, railways, defense, or industrials for a very long time, for the last 10 years. And now these companies are actually delivering earnings based on the new contracts that they actually got. So these are not really expectations, but are based on actual results. So given all this, I think, mid-cap as an index can continue to do well on a fundamental basis.
Okay, got that. One more stock that I wanted to discuss is Nykaa FSN e-commerce after the earnings. The stock is indicating a 2.5% uptick after the earnings. We've seen a 187% year-on-year jump on the profitability factor at just 6.9 crores. Revenue has shown an improvement of 28% odd. Would you still look at these earnings positively, or would you still want to stay away, Mr. Lokpriya, from Nykaa?
The stock has actually done a fairly bit of a run up, and if you look at absolute numbers, they're still, marginally moving towards profitability types. So, given that scenario, I would, given that it's already run up, I would stay away from Nykaa or some of the companies like this at this juncture.
Okay. Kunal, what else has looked positive to you within the pre-opening action, and where should one concentrate their focus for traders on and looking on an intraday or positional trade?
Well, again, I'm looking at FMCG only right now. Okay, the way this counters has been trading since last few days, my view is again going on Hindustan Unilever. No doubt, we talk about two stock on FMCG, but the way the FMCG sector looks like very attractive. So I think one could go for intraday trading on Hindustan Unilever. Right now, it is pre-opening is trading at 2366 level, and yesterday it took a support of 21 EMA and it gave a good bounce back. So we can see follow-up momentum in today's trading session. So from my side, one can go for long in HUL at 2364 level. If we talk about SL side, then downside at this level, support comes at 2320. 2320 will be the SL. If we talk about target, and the first target comes at 2400 and second target 2450. So we can expect first target to be achieved in today's trading session. But for second target, one can wait at least for two trading session.
Okay. Chakri, of course, HUL has been a big underperformer from the FMCG space. It's probably not done anything for the last 4 years. Finally, is showing some signs, but again, the question would be, will it be sustainable or not, and should one really take a bet on such large FMCG players?
Whether it's Hindustan Lever or Nestle, I think it's a very similar story is playing out. I think lack of product innovation has led to no new revenue streams which can accelerate the company's revenue growth, and the volumes have been largely in line with the kind of the FMCG kind of volumes, which is not super growth but kind of a stable growth. But the valuations, on the other hand, are right up there. So given that I would really not venture into a Hindustan Lever at current levels.
Okay, valuation still very high, so stay away from this space in case a long-term horizon is something that you have as far as FMCG players like HUL are concerned. But trading bets, like Kunal said, can be taken on an intraday basis on HUL, showing some momentum today. The other space, I think, let's quickly shift focus to the opening levels and we'll come back to our discussion then. 22,603, markets opening just flat at this point in time. Just swinging between the highs and the lows above and above the flat line as of now, trying to sustain above 22,600 odd. The Nifty Bank is opening about 0.3% higher, 47,937, 150 points higher in trade. And let's look at some of the other pockets. So the mid caps, let's look at the Nifty Mid Cap 100 index. It was indicating a 0.5% higher move as far as the opening is concerned. Yes, it's opened higher at 52,407. So record levels again there playing out for the mid caps. Small caps, let's look at that space too. The small cap index is showing us some kind of an uptick again, about a 0.3% of a move, 16,937. Let's look at the IT space that was on the move yesterday, 0.17% of a move on this one. The Nifty advances are 1230 with the declines 348, so definitely skew towards the positive side in trade today. The Nifty Bank, we've already listed. FMCG, let's look at that one since we've been concentrating our energies on the FMCG space. The Nifty FMCG index is opening about 0.2% higher. Metals are seeing profits being taken off, 0.9% of a downtick on the Nifty Metal Index. Pharma, let's look at that one as well. Remember yesterday we were seeing some healthy gains there. 0.6% of a downtick with that in mind. Let's also look at the auto space, absolutely flat with a positive bias right now as far as the Nifty Auto is also concerned. Oil and gas about 0.3% higher. Capital goods is seeing some good moves come in, 0.6% of a move. It's the realty space that's getting us some traction. 1.2% higher. PSU banks are coming back in flavor. Over a percent kind of a move can be seen. So these are the big pockets that are attracting the attention. So the Nifty bank is finally turning some positive with the PSU banks holding the top spot there. Realty, capital goods, these are the spaces you need to watch out for. The Nifty CPSE is down by about 0.6%. Large part of the PSU basket is seeing some profits being taken off. The Nifty Pharma Index is now down by about a percent as well. Let's look at the top movers. On the Nifty, you have stocks like SBI Life Insurance, that's up by 0.6%. You have BPCL, SBI. These are the top movers. ONGC, oil and gas space, again seeing some concentration. IndusInd Bank, Tata Consumer Products. Remember, this is the stock that Kunal also mentioned he will be watching out for today. That's moved as the top mover. On the downside, you have Power Grid after earnings and of course, brokerage houses' views slightly down in trade. Sun Pharma, Hindalco, these are the stocks that are the top losers. The metals pack, JSW Steel, Tata Steel and Grasim after the earnings. These are the stocks that are seeing some declines play out as well. So that's as far as the space in the Nifty is concerned. Let's look at F&O. Jubilant Foodworks, 3.6% higher after positive earnings. And Ramco Cements, again, after earnings, it's 2.2% higher in trade. Remember, Jeffries over here has given a target price of 690 on the stock, currently at 791. So there's a weak overview from a report on Ramco Cements, but the stock is continuing to define that move. Metropolis Healthcare continues to move in thick action, 1.8% higher. Canara Bank, as was indicated by Chakri, he's going to be watching out for this one. 1.3% higher. Bank of Baroda, that's another one from the PSU banking space that's up. Polycab, these are the top gainers, and Canara Bank also coming back in shape as well. SBI, PNB, so it's a concentration in the PSU banks. Chakri, you did say Union Bank, Canara Bank, some of those banks you'll be watching out for versus an SBI or a PNB. Why are you really preferring the second rung banks?
Canara Bank, there's been a stock split. They've announced a dividend. The company still trades at, under book value, probably 0.9. And, the bank is a strong bank. Fundamentally, it's a very clean balance sheet. And the loan growth outlook is very strong. Given a combination of all these factors, I think, over the next year or so, the company will do very well.
Okay, got that. Kunal, what about you? How are you looking at these move in the PSU banking space? Which one will outperform according to you now?
Well, today PSU Bank really doing very good. It's up by 1.20%. And if you talk about a few stocks which looks very attractive to me, first is UCO Bank. Right now it is trading at 58.40 level, and since last few days we have been seeing a very good upside momentum. The counter itself, stock also took the support of 50 MA. Yesterday it gave a close about 21 DMA. And from my side, it's a buy recommendation as stock is nearing to giving up. It's a breakout of symmetrical triangle formation as well. So right now it's trading at 58.25 level. One can go for long at present level. If we talk about support side, which one can keep as a SL, then the downside support comes at 55.30. And if we talk about target side, then first target would be at 61 level, and if stock breaks this level 61, then 64 would be there, which means again 10% of momentum we can expect from the present level in UCO Bank. So UCO Bank from my side with the SL of 55.30.
Okay, pharma space is down. Sun Pharma now down 3.2%, but it's some of those stocks from the pharma space that are actually doing well. Let's pull up Gland Pharma. Now, Gland Pharma had reported good set of earnings. The profit more than doubled, and therefore you do see a sharp uptick. I think 6.5% higher in trade. Do you see confidence in Gland Pharma returning now, Chakri? Would this be a stock that you would track?
Gland Pharma I haven't invested in recently, so not really up to date with the fundamentals. So I'm sorry,
Sure.
I don't have much details.
Okay. What about you, Kunal? Would you be tracking this stock for an intraday move?
If you talk about intraday, then it's already up by 7%.
Yes.
Now it's not good to get into the stock right now. But I'm recommended to hold the stock if anyone has this in their portfolio right now. So it is right now it is trading at 1906 level. It gave a gap opening as well, and right now it's trading above its strong resistance 1880. So if stocks sustain above this level, then we can say very good upside momentum from the present
Sure.
level up to the level of 2070. So one can hold the stock in their portfolio for a time being.
Okay, got that. What about Jubilant Foods, Chakri? How are you reading into the numbers? Mostly in line with the estimates, slightly below on the profitability fact. No, slightly below on the revenue factor, but the profits have sharply jumped higher in trade. After 4 odd quarters, we've actually seen some improvement come in. How are you looking at Jubilant Food?
Jubilant's food, the whole space, there's been a lot of competitive pressure
Yeah.
and leading to pricing power, loss of pricing power. What what the company's Jubilant has done is managed to increase the volumes, and so the sales growth has improved across their stores, and so the volumes I think are helping the company, and that's providing some amount of operating leverage to the company. Given the fact that while the valuations are still kind of up there, whether it's Jubilant or Devyani, but I think there is some amount of business momentum that is happening. So we can look at Jubilant and Devyani at current levels because the fundamentals are looking strong.
Okay. Well, Chakri, there's one more space that I wanted to discuss with you, and this is a part of the defense space and largely these shipbuilder stocks. After the earnings, Garden Reach has shown a 13% uptick right now. There is no let up in the kind of rally that we are seeing on a Cochin shipyard. It's after the split, it's not only regained the pre-split levels, it's moved even beyond that. And this is just in a matter of a few months, I would say, maybe a quarter or so. Mazagon Dock, again, there is a 5.5% move on the other side. Every time we feel the stocks have run up too much, there is a lot of froth, there is overheating, they always continue to surprise us and continue to give a lot of FOMO to all those who did not get into this space. How are you looking at this space?
You're absolutely right in terms of of the feeling, left out feeling, because what these companies have done are doing is they're actually delivering on results, positive results, beating estimates, and therefore the earnings are being revised up. As a result, valuations look attractive even after the run up. So Cochin Shipyards, great example. The company is done phenomenal in terms of stock performance. But look at the earnings. Look at the number of order book that the company has. Now the order book kind of secures the company's revenue for the next easily 4 or 5 years. So there is an earnings visibility that is there in these companies or for the long term, and that earnings visibility provides the ability to accord at a slightly higher multiple. These companies did not do anything in the past, and therefore, for the longer term, still very good to hold these companies.
Long term, it's still good to hold these companies. Let's get you, Kunal. Would you participate in this momentum in the shipbuilder space?
Right now, no from my side because we have seen an ultra edge move in all the
Yes.
peers. So it's good to hold these stocks in their portfolio, but no fresh advice from my side to go long.
Okay, do not enter for a trading perspective. Already holding on, you can continue to hold on for a long term perspective on this one. Realty space, let's look at that one. Again, there is news coming in as far as Godrej Properties is concerned. In Noida, they've done 2,000 odd crore rupees of bookings, an insane amount of sales going on. Every time, newspapers flash crores worth of property sold out in one day out or so. How are you reading into the momentum, Chakri? We do know that after a long haul, the realty space has come back out of a long underperformance of many years. But the kind of move that we are seeing on these stocks, is it still fair valued?
All these companies, real estate companies in various pockets, have done very well. For it has the kind of pent up demand has helped the companies.
Yeah.
sell some of their sales inventory, and therefore balance sheets have improved. And in various pockets, if you take the Shoba developers or the brigades, they've, because of the IT strength in Bangalore and various other pockets in which they operate, has been very, very strong. Shoba, for example, delivered its highest ever sales when it reported
Yes.
earnings. And so when they're reporting numbers like that, clearly the valuations will move up along with that. Now, what we're still waiting for is, while all these companies have moved up dramatically, their valuations are no longer cheap. But when interest rates begin to go down, RBI starts cutting rates. At that point, I would look back again. But now it's to wait.
Okay, got that. Anything that interests you, Kunal, from the real estate space that you'd like to carry on a trade in?
Well, few stocks are there in which I'm seeing a good upside momentum. First is Godrej Prop itself. Right now, Godrej Prop is trading somewhere around a 2822 level. It has been trading in a upper and higher to higher bottom formation, and has been taking continuously support of its 21 days exponential moving average. So one can go for long at recent level at 2822 level. If we talk about SL side, and right now SL comes at 2740. And if you talk about target, and the first target comes at 2885. And if stock breaks this level, then the 3000 level would be there in coming 4 to 5 trading session.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the real estate space is concerned. Chakri, now to you. I want to understand from you, beyond the elections, how would you really advise an average retail investor to start putting in money within different asset classes as well? We've also seen a stunning move on the metals pack today. Both silver and gold are slightly down, about 600 rupees per kg a fall on silver, about 500 rupees per 10 grams a fall on gold. But the stunning rally that has continued, expectations of 1 lakh rupee coming in on silver, and gold already crossing that 75,000 mark as well. So metals, precious metals on the one end, you have real estate, you have markets overall. How are you really advising the investors to now look at afresh from the next 5 years perspective, be whatever, whichever company, party comes to power?
Basically, if you rewind back, sufficiently, maybe about 10 years ago, at that point, if you look at the overall profits of the entire stock market, the majority of the earnings came from the Nifty 50 companies, like good 70-80%. Whereas today, the mid cap index, or rather the companies in the broader index, contribute to nearly a good 40-50% of the overall earnings. So, which in other words, of way of looking at it is, therefore, the importance of the broader market has gone up as a result, and therefore, from an investor perspective, having exposure to both the mid cap broader index funds as well as to large cap index funds, I think is very essential.
Okay, got that. Well, thank you so much, Chakri, for being with us on this special edition and sharing with us all these wonderful insights across various sectors and strategy on the markets, and of course the election perspective as well that you shared with us. Truly a pleasure to have you with us on Business Today, and we will continue to get more insights from you post the 4th of June, which will be absolutely critical from you to be for our viewers as well. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, viewers, we will continue our discussion with Kunal on that front. Kunal, anything else that looked positive to you? There are two, three stocks that are again coming back on my radar. Most of them from the defense space. HAL again at a fresh high, 0.5% higher, 4949. BEL at a fresh high, 2.3% higher. BEML at a fresh high, 2% higher. Cochin Shipyard 8% higher, again at a fresh high. Within this defense pack, where would you carry on the momentum?
Well, all the four stocks have been, giving a very good upside momentum since last many days, and all the stocks have been trading in an uncharted territory. Only fresh rhythm is there, fresh volume is there, multi-time breakout is there. All the stock has been trading above all its long-term moving averages. So from the present level, I'm seeing a very good upside momentum even from the present level, and the way present government is working with the defense sector, and the way they are focusing on this Make in India product. So from my side, I can say that even from the present level, one can expect 12 to 15% of move in counters, but I would not recommend it to go for fresh buying as risk reward is not favorable at present level. But anyone has the stocks in their portfolio, one can hold these stocks at least for 12 to 15% in an upcoming trading session.
Okay, so that's as far as the defense moves that continue to soar at all-time high levels as well. Apart from this, there is one other stock that I want your attention on, Kunal, and that is Interglobe Aviation, Indigo. It's again at a fresh record high, 1.3% higher. Remember, Indigo reports its earnings today. So right ahead of the earnings, Indigo stock is hovering at 4415. Sharp move can be seen over here. How should one be really looking at this space now on Indigo?
Well, stocks looks very attractive on a daily chart. If I do not talk about result wise and on fresh technical, only on technical part, then it looks very attractive to me. Right now, it's trading at double four, double three level. One can go for long at the present level. If we talk about SL side, support side, and downside, SL comes at 4340 level. Now, result is there, so whatever the volatility will be there. So please maintain, keep SL at 4340 level. If we talk about target side, then first target comes at 4505, and if stock breaks this level, then today itself we can see somewhere around 4620 target that counters can be achieved, which again you can say 4 to 5% of momentum which we can today itself.
Okay, got that. So that's the move on Indigo that you can expect, ladies and gentlemen. Let me draw your attention to now the top mover on the Nifty. It's L&T, the poster boy of the capital goods space. That's now up 1%. Sharp move can be seen on this one, 3497 kind of levels. How are you looking at this move on L&T come back after a long haul, Kunal? And is the momentum going to sustain itself? Should one be now nibbling into this stock?
Well, right now I'm giving my two views on this stock. I'm not giving my view for intraday because I'm not seeing any move particularly for intraday. Stock has already been up by 1.30%. But yes, I am very much bullish, particularly for short term to long term. Right now, stock is trading at 3500 level. So for short term, one can go for stock with the SL of 3400. We can see movement upside up to the level of 3575, and then 3700 would be there. So for short term, one can expect 6% of momentum from the recent level. But if we talk about long term, then definitely this stock can do very well. So one can go for long term at present level. If you talk about SL side, then 3200 would be there. And if you talk about target size, then my ultimate target is 4100 in coming 6 to 7 months. So one can definitely go for long in LT for long term with strict SL of 3200.
Okay. Well, there is another space that continues to move up higher without letting up any kind of gains. So that is the railway space. Let's look at RVNL. The stock is now hovering 7.2% higher. It's now at a 365 odd level as well, which no prices for getting should be a record high for RVNL share as well. Let me just quickly check that for all our viewers. Yes, it is. Record high levels being seen on this one. We've seen 369 in trade today for RVNL. Let's look at IRFC. Again, there is no let up in the rally that we are seeing on this stock too. So IRFC for you is 5% higher at 184 odd levels again. Let's check IRFC for all our viewers with the kind of move that we are getting. Definitely a 52-week high. It's again a record high, if I'm not mistaken. 192 is the record high. So just near about that is where IRFC also trading at. Let's pull up all the other stocks. Let's pull up IRCTC, RailTel, Titagarh Rail that even Chakri pointed out too. Let's also pull up Jupiter Wagons that a lot of our analysts have been really talking positively on over the last few trading sessions. IRCTC is up by 0.6% odd. Let's look at Jupiter Wagons, 1.5% up. Titagarh Rail, let's pull up that one too. RailTel. Let's look at the across the board, the move. So definitely across the board, the move is positive. Where would you concentrate your energy on railway space, Kunal? And would you carry on the momentum trade anywhere?
Yes, definitely. Right now, I'm focusing on IRFC. No doubt, other stocks also doing well, but risk reward is in favorable terms. If you talk about IRFC, right now it is trading at 183 level, and I'm seeing a good upside momentum from the recent level itself. And if I talk about its a target side, then first target would be at 193 level. First, let's talk on SL side. Right now, SL comes at 173 level. Okay, and right counter is trading at 183. So first target is 193, and if I talk about second target would be somewhere around 203, which is again 11% from the present level. And if stock breaks this 203 level, then Sky has no limit type of momentum. We can see in the IRFC up to the level of 213. 230 levels, so sorry, 17, 16 to 17% of momentum we can see in upcoming trading session. So one can go for long in IRFC with the SL of 173 at present level.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the railway space is concerned. Anything else that may have caught your attention that I may have missed asking you, Kunal, that you're finding interesting in today's trade?
Well, many stocks are that which are right now trading at a good level. If we talk about Cochin CPR, no doubt we already talk about this stock. If you talk about RBINL, if you talk about Kiri Industries, but one stock is there which looks very good to me. And if you talk about that part, and again, Motherson Sumi looks very good to me. Right now stock is trading somewhere around 132.80 years. Stock has given a breakout of its recent top. Right, it has been trading in an upward rising channel formation, and I am seeing a very good upside momentum in the Motherson Sumi. No doubt, right now it is trading with minor losing streak, but I am seeing a very good upside momentum from the present level. So one can go for long at 133 level only. If you talk about SL side, then SL would be at 127. And if you talk about target, then 138 would be the first target. And if stock breaks this first target, then 145 would be there. So again, 9 to 10% of momentum we can see in in the counter itself. So Motherson Sumi looks good to me with the SL of 127.
Okay, Motherson Sumi or Samvardhan Motherson, that looks positive to Kunal at this point in time. On the IT space, what's your view, Kunal? And how are you looking at some of the bounce that's coming back on these IT stocks like a Coforge, for example? Heavyweight companies like even Infosys have been showing some signs of traction. Is it a sustainable move that one should be really looking at? Coforge again is at today's high point at 1.3% up right now.
Well, IT stocks right now, I mean, among the other sectors, IT sectors are like underperforming. And if you talk about a few stocks, no doubt Coforge is doing very well today. And means one stock is there which is like catching my eyes right now. It is Infosys. Right now trading at 1464 level, and is giving a breakout of his recent top. Okay, which was placed at 1457 level. So from my side, Infosys is like good bet to go for long, not only for intraday but for short term, medium term, long term as well. So right now it is trading at 1464 level. One can go for long at present level. If you talk about SL side, then right now one can kept SL at 1420 level. First target is 1500, and if stock gives a breakout of this 1500, then 1552 would be there. And in long term, we can see somewhere around 1700 level, which stock made in January. And if you talk about Coforge, then again Coforge looks very good as well. And in mid cap right now it is trading at 4983 level. Again, in yesterday's trading session, stock give a breakout or stock give a close above its 21 days moving average. So even Coforge looks very good. One can go long in Coforge at 4982 level. If you talk about SL side, then SL comes at 4800. And if you talk about target, then the first target comes at 5120. And if stocks breaks this 5120, then 5350 would be there.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as the IT space is concerned. There is some buying happening. Tata Elxsi 4.2% higher, Sonata Software 2% higher, Mastech up 1.7%. So a lot of these mid-cap IT names are showing strength. Persistent Systems about 1% higher, Wipro from the large caps, LTI Mindtree from the large caps, so about 1% higher in trade as well, apart from the stocks that we have discussed. So some buying that can be seen across this one. Let's check Nifty again. It's recovered about 60 odd points from the day's low. Remember, in the opening trade, we had seen some swings come back, and but 70 points higher in trade. If you look at the Nifty, it's now moved to the high point of the day in the first 20 minutes or 25 minutes of trade for sure. 0.3% of an uptick, 22,667. Remember, it's the weekly options expiry of the Nifty contracts today. Kunal, how are you looking at the expiry play out?
Well, today is Nifty expiry, and right now Nifty is trading at 22,670, and it's been up by 0.32 percentage and 73 points. I am seeing a very good upside momentum because Nifty has given a breakout of its recent top as well, and it has been trading about 21 days moving average since long. Right now, I am expecting a good upside momentum up to the level of 22,750. So expiry would be there between the range of 22,750 to 22,700. So one can go for long in call side also.
Okay, got that. Let's also look at the Nifty Bank that's now climbed above the 48,000 mark yet again. So move looking positive as of now. Yes, it's moved to the day's high point, 0.6% of a move that can be seen on this one. Let's look at the top contributors on the Nifty. It's L&T which is contributing 18 points, Reliance is contributing about 15 points, and the banking counters ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, SBI are also top contributors. Infosys and TCS also the ones that are contributing to the gains as of now. We've discussed L&T. Private banks within ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, SBI from the public sector bank, where exactly would you see the momentum continuing, Kunal?
Well, I was looking at this chart only. Four stocks are there, but among these four stocks, Kotak banks look very attractive to me. Right now, it is trading about 21 days moving average, and it has also given a breakout of its recent top. Okay, right now it is trading at 1705 level and has just changed from down to upside. So definitely, Kotak Bank looks very attractive for short-term period. One can go for long in Kotak Bank with the SL at 1704 level. If you talk about SL side, then one can keep SL at 1660. Target would be at 1740 first target, and if Kotak Bank breaks this level, then 1800 would be there.
Okay, got that. Let's again get some views on the oil and gas space now. ONGC is the one that was seeing some actions build up, 1.2% higher in trade. I can also see BPCL, HPCL, IOC showing us some moves as well. Along with it, GAIL from the gas space is also moving up in trade today. Of course, crude oil prices, remember, they have ebbed a bit lower. Brent crude below $82 a barrel. How are you looking at the oil and gas space? Anything that warrants attention over here, Kunal, for our viewers?
Yes, few stocks are there. I'm looking very good at present level. No doubt, many stocks are there like ONGC, BPCL, GAIL, IGL doing very well today in today's trading session. But among this stock, BPCL looks very good to me. Right now, it is trading above its all long-term moving averages. Even it has given a breakout of its recent top, which was stood at 641 level. Right now, it is trading at 646 level. So from my side, one can go for long in BPCL. 641, 647 right now stock is trading at this level. So if you talk about SL side, then SL would be at 620 level. And if you talk about target, then first target at 670, which is its previous top. And if stock breaks this 670 level, then we can see good upside momentum up to the level of 705 and 730. So again, 8 to 12% momentum would be there in BPCL. So yes, it's buy side from my side with the SR of 620.
Got that. Well, thank you so much, Kunal, for being with us on this show and discussing all these various sectors, stocks, ideas as well for our viewers, and intraday trades, also strategies on the Nifty on the expiry session as well. Thank you so much for sharing all your views right there. We'll start wrapping up the morning edition for you viewers. The Nifty has moved to the high point of the day, 75 points higher right now, 22,676. The Nifty Bank has been a large contributor to this because of the heavy weight, and several private banks definitely contributing to this move, including ICICI and Axis Bank. So you can see the Nifty Bank definitely move up about 0.6% again at the day's high, 48,092 currently. On this one, sectorally, let's look at the big moves that are coming across PSU banks. That's the one that is in the thick of action today. Apart from the PSU banks, the rally can be seen across the board. So barring or say a pharma index, which is lower in trade, healthcare index that's 1% lower, metals that are down 0.9%, and media stocks that are down 0.5%. Rest of the sectors are all moving up. Of course, substantial gains being seen on PSU banks, like I said. Oil and gas about 0.5% higher, consumer durables 0.4% up, realty space about 0.8% higher in trade. So it's PSU banks and the realty space that are garnering the attention, and the IT space because of the heavy weight. So 0.7% of the move coming in on this. Banks, ITs, PSU banks especially, and realty space. This is your, and oil and gas and consumer durables as well. This is where the move is getting concentrated into. Let's look at the top movers. L&T, Axis Bank, SBI Life, ONGC, Apollo Hospitals, the top movers on the Nifty at this hour. On the downside, you have stocks, very few stocks, about 10 odd stocks that are weaker in trade. Sun Pharma, Power Grid after the earnings, JSW Steel, Hindalco, Grasim, Coal India, Tata Steel. So metals pack is seeing profits being taken off the table. F&O big movers, Granules, BEL, you have Polycab, you have Info Edge. These are the stocks that are moving up. On the downside, you have stocks like Hindustan Copper, Vedanta, Deepak Nitrite, you have Lupin that's seeing a sharp downtick in trade today. Sun Pharma also down in trade. So these are some of the stocks that are down right now. With that, we wrap up. Many thanks for being with us on this morning edition, but do stay tuned as we continue to get you, more insights from the world of markets at 12 noon. Do not forget to tune in as we answer all your questions on your stock related queries, and this will be answered by top market experts of the day as well. See you at Daily Calls. Many thanks for joining us.
सम्मान चाहिए, विकास नहीं, ये बोलने वाले लोग से जो जंगल राज का जमाना